Now we're looking at the hourly rates tab of a job. Hourly rates allow you to set up a billed by the hour rate for a client if your contract is structured as such. So most of our contracts are fixed price and we don't need to set up hourly rates at all. The only reason you'd need to set up an hourly rate is if you do work by the hour. So if you charged out your skid steer by the hour, you charged out your crews by the hour, you didn't have a fixed price for the job, you agreed upon with the client that yes, we're going to do this by the hour at these rates, then if that's your contract, you could set up hourly rates in LMNTime. So as your crews are clocking into the job, they're also building billing information. And you can spit a report out of LMNTime that you can use for invoicing the client. That'll break down all the different days and hours we spent there along with the hourly rates that need to be charged. So here you can see I've got two rates set up for this job. This is a grounds maintenance contract, and I've set up an hourly rate for basic labor maintenance and also an hourly rate for my horticultural tech. So perhaps in this example, I have a rate at $40 an hour for maintenance that I'm going to charge my customer for any additions over and above the fixed price contract. And maybe if my horticultural tech's going to go do pruning, we're going to do it at a higher rate. In this case, I've created $60 an hour. To add a rate to a job, and remember, you'd only do this if you're billing the client by the hour, just go down here and click Add Rate. You could name the rate here. Choose whether it's a rate charged by the hour or a flat rate. So if you're charging the client for equipment mobilization, for etc., or deliveries, you could do a flat rate. Most of ours are going to be by the hour, and then we're going to specify the hour here. So my rate for a skid steer and operator, maybe $85 an hour. Yes, I want to include this on billing reports, and I hit OK. Now that's available. When the crews clock into this job, under any task here, now the key part is under my tasks, I'm going to open my extras task. I need to make sure this here is checked on. So this says track hours and rates for billing by the hour. What's going to happen is if the crew clocks in to my extras enhancements on this job, it's then going to ask them, well, who's working on which rates? And maybe they're all under labor maintenance, or maybe if my hort tech goes there, they're under this, or maybe my foreman could say, well, I'm operating the skid steer, the rest of them are labor. And what's going to happen is it's not only going to do their time for payroll and job costing, but it's also going to build that billing information for you. So you could just simply spit out a report as soon as they submit their timesheet and have your hourly rates ready for billing. Now you can also set up default rates for your company. And very quickly, I'm going to flip over to the settings screen. So under the settings of LMNTime, down here under the rates, you can set up default rates for jobs. And here's my list of default rates. Now, if I just want to add a default rate to the job, here now I'm back on my job, there's also a button over here that says Add Default Rates. So if I click that, it's going to bring in all my default rates. And here I could put in, for example, my mini excavator operator and hit OK. And it'll drop that in on the job as well. So that's basically it for rates. It's that simple. Just set up the different rates that you need on a job. When your crew goes to clock in, it'll ask them what job, what task you're working on. And if that task has this flag on here, that yes, I want to track hours and rates for billing by the hour, then it'll ask them which rate are you working on. If you only have one rate, it won't even ask them. But if you have multiple rates, it's got to make sure it's got which employees are working at which rates. Once the foreman sets that up, you're all set. The last thing here is, well, what if I've set up a wrong rate? Or what if you didn't even know the rate before the crews were working the job? For example, the owner agreed with something with the customer. The office administrator's back in the office. They don't necessarily know that rate. You could set up the rate for $1 to get started and then use the rate history to change it. So if I had this set up at $80 an hour and then the owner came back and said, no, I'd agreed with them that it's going to be $70 an hour for that, I can just go to rate history, change it to 70. If it's for a specific date, I can change it as well. But in this case, I'm going to say update it for all the dates and click OK. It'll tell you it's going to change it and it can't be undone. Once you click OK, it'll tell you how many rates were updated, and then you're set at 70. So everything going forward will be 70, and it's changed everything in the past at 70. And that's it. That's how to use all the buttons on the rate screen.